Is the Austin real estate bubble about to pop? Well, that's the topic of today's video, and I'm excited about it. So I hope that you'll stand by as I try to answer that question for you. In fact, there's several questions that I want to answer. One is, what is a real estate bubble? Two, is Austin in a real estate bubble? Three, what is it like when a real estate bubble pops? I've been there, I've been through that. And then fourthly, is this a good time to buy in Austin? And let me say welcome to my channel. I'm Dan Forbes, broker at Forbes Realty here in Leander, Texas. And if you want to know everything there is to know about moving and living and working and playing in Cedar Park, Leander, Texas, and all of the North Austin area and suburbs, you've come to the right place. And I hope that you will subscribe to my channel, hit the bell so that you'll be notified whenever a new weekly video is posted, and please smash that thumbs up, that like button, so that other people can find my videos as well. I literally get calls and texts and emails almost every single day from people that are moving here or relocating here, and I absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about Cedar Park, Texas, Leander, Texas, Liberty Hill, Pflugerville, Round Rock, Georgetown, North Austin, then I hope that you'll look down in the description below and you'll see how that you can give me a call, give me a text, send me an email, or heck, I don't care, send me a carrier pigeon. And always remember, I've got your back. But let's get into this week's topic right now. So the question is Austin in a real estate bubble, and is that bubble about to pop? So, let's begin by talking about what is a real estate bubble. And please excuse me for looking down my screen right now, but I want to share with you three different definitions, or three similar definitions of a real estate bubble, to try to answer that question, are we in one? So this definition is from rocketmortgage.com, and I simply did an internet search of what is a real estate bubble, and here's what rocketmortgage.com says about that. A housing bubble occurs when real estate demand outpaces supply, causing the average price of properties for sale to rise, often at an alarming or high rate. And what's more, the phenomenon can also impact home buyers and sellers when it occurs, as they consider whether now is a good time to buy or sell a house. And I recently did a video about how we are right now at a decade's low sentiment regarding buying a home. Most consumers right now, I think it's about 74%, think now is not a good time to buy a home. But yet, right here in the Austin area, there are buyers just scrambling, trying to buy a home. So have we seen a rapid uptick in housing prices here in the Austin area? Absolutely. As a matter of fact, in the last 2 years, housing prices have gone up about 70% here in the Austin area. So let's look at how bankrate.com answers the question, what is a real estate bubble? Here's what it says. A real estate bubble, also referred to as a housing bubble, occurs when the price of housing rises at a rapid pace, driven by an increase in demand, limited supply, and emotional buying. Once speculators recognize that housing prices are on the rise, they enter the market, further drive up demand, and the phenomenon is called a bubble because at some point it will burst. So that's the definition. Prices going up at a rapid pace because of increase in demand. We have that here in Austin. Limited supply. We have that here in Austin. And emotional buying. I think we see that here also. And then thirdly is the definition of a real estate bubble by Investopedia. Here's what it says. A housing bubble or real estate bubble is a run-up in housing prices fueled by demand, speculation, and exuberant spending to the point of collapse. Housing bubbles usually start with an increase in demand in the face of limited supply, which takes a relatively extended period to replenish and increase. Speculators pour money into the market further, driving up demand. At some point, demand decreases or stagnates. At the same time, supply increases, resulting in a sharp drop in prices, and the bubble burst. So that's what Investopedia says. So all of these definitions uh, contain, some similar elements. So it is a rapid increase in housing prices. We've certainly had that here in Austin. There is an increase of demand, more buyers than there are sellers, and there is a very limited supply of inventory. And the Austin area actually meets all of that criteria. The second question is Austin itself in a real estate bubble? Well, I'm looking at an article right now on grow.acorns.com that refers to the Florida real estate market, the Boise, Idaho market, and also the Austin, Texas market, and describes all of them as being bubblicious. In fact, the article says that anyone looking to buy a home right now is in a rough spot. Home values continue to be at all-time highs, and rising interest rates make mortgages increasingly expensive. And it goes on to describe a study that was done by Zillow that indicates that here in the Austin area, in the last 24 months, home prices have gone up 71%. Now, I remember back 2005, 2006, 2007, in the Florida real estate market, our market went up 150% in 5 years, and that seemed like an astronomical rise in prices to me. And of course, we know that that was a bubble. It popped, and housing values went down, 45%. So our Austin market, if we've gone up 70% in the last 2 years, if that rate was to continue, it certainly would meet that criteria of a bubble here in the Austin market. So is Austin in a real estate market? I'd say by all definitions, yes, Austin is in a real estate bubble. By all definitions, yes, Austin is in a real estate bubble. What happens when a real estate bubble pops, or what causes a real estate bubble to pop? In Florida, you remember that bubble was created by fraudulent mortgages. Anybody that could breathe could fill out a fraudulent application and could buy a home or buy several homes, even if they didn't have any income that they could prove. They could just write down any number they wanted to. So it's no surprise that eventually that caught up with the market collapsed, the stock market collapsed, the housing market collapsed, and prices went down about 45% in my area in Central Florida at the time. So what might cause this real estate market to pop? Well, there could be an economic catastrophe that causes it to pop. You remember 9/11 that led us into a recession? Something like that could happen, or it could just be the onset of a severe recession. There's a lot of fear out there right now about our economic strength here in the United States when we see inflation at a 40-year high right now. 8.5% was the recent inflation rate that came out of that report, and it's probably much higher than that because that looks at items that don't cover, some of the ordinary costs that you and I have. So I would say that inflation is much higher than 8.5% right now. And, unless things change, we are very, very likely going to go into a recession, and that might cause a bubble to pop. It could cause buyers to stop buying. So not only a recession, but mortgage rates going up. So the Fed in May is going to announce the next Fed rate increase, and they are rattling change that it's going to be at least 0.5%. And we just saw mortgage rates in just the past few months go from under 3% to over 5%. So that's happened in the last 5 months? So what could mortgage rates go to? Well, it's anybody's guess, but every time mortgage rates goes up, it takes a lot of buyers out of the market. And if there are more homes available for sale, then that market starts slowing down. If that was to be a sudden drastic shift, then a real estate bubble could pop. So what happens when real estate bubble pops? Well, it hurts. It hurts sellers because now they perhaps own a property that is not worth what they paid for it. It hurts buyers because they really, don't have the cash to put into a property. And it just hurts the housing market in total. Real estate bubbles are not fun. And so the last question is, should you buy a house in Austin today? Well, like an attorney, I'm going to say that depends. if I would also attach to that question, what's the worst case scenario? I guess the worst case scenario would be that you buy at the very top of a real estate bubble, the bubble pops, and values go down, 40, 45%, which is what happened in 2008. And it could take 7 years for a home to get back to that same value. Matter of fact, that's about what it took. It took about 7 or 8 years for homes to recoup the amount of value that they lost when the real estate bubble popped in 2009. So the worst case scenario is you'd have to stay in your home for about 7 years in order for it to be equal and you to not lose any money. So should you buy a home here in Austin right now? Well, if you're buying a home to live in and you plan to hold on to that home for the next 5 to 6 to 7 years, I think you're probably going to be okay. I don't think we'll see a real estate bubble pop and a decrease in home prices to the rate of 40 or 45%. Who knows? We might see prices level out. We might see a decrease in home values. But that could quickly be recouped with an appreciation rate of 5 or 6%. Or if we get to the point that Texas has been for many, many years in the pre-pandemic level of about 10% a year, it wouldn't be too long before those homes were back above water again. So the worst case scenario is you buy a home at the top of the market falls, now you owe more than what the home is worth, and then you have to sell the home. Wow, now you're being pinched and you might have to bring money to closing. So you don't want that to happen. But here in the Austin area, we have the strongest job market in the United States. We have people wanting to move here. We have about 150 person a day population gain, and we have a strong economy. Now, any of those things could change, but it doesn't look like there's anything on the horizon that's going to change the attractiveness of Austin. But I would say, just be careful out there. Don't act too emotionally whenever you are buying a home. Make sure you're working with a strong broker like myself, who is an expert in negotiating in order to help you get the best price on the home. And then remember, if you are a seller, this is the strongest seller's market we have ever experienced. So if you're thinking about selling, this is probably the best time ever to sell. Give me a call. I'll be happy to help. So we've been talking about, is the Austin real estate bubble about to pop? Who knows if it is going to pop? Who knows what would happen if it did pop? But I'm confident in real estate. It does go in cycles. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. But real estate has always done very well for homeowners that live in the home and eventually sell it at a profit. And it's done very well for investors. Right now, you're beginning to see some other videos from my channel pop up. So if you want to know everything there is to know about living, working, and playing here in Cedar Park and Leander, Texas, please look around my channel, watch the videos, and then remember, I've got your back. And reach out to call me, text me, send me an email. Heck, I don't care. Send me a carrier pigeon anytime. I'm happy to help.